Hey everyone, today we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to do type 1 and type 2 binary nomenclature practice when they're mixed together. So when they're mixed together, we got to know how to tell them apart, and then we can use those rules in order to identify. So let's go and look at the first one. Here's question number 1 of practice sheet number 1, and we look at the first element. Now the first element is Li. Now Li is lithium, if we don't know, and lithium is right here on the periodic table. In the packet on page 12, you'll see that it's in column 1, which actually it's in white. It has a charge, which means it's a type 1. So we go back to the sheet, and we're just going to go ahead and put a 1 right there, so we know that it's a type 1. Well, if you remember how to name type 1, and naming type 1, we would just go to this right here, and we're going to say that we're going to basically, when we see the formula, we're just going to go ahead and name it. Name the cation and then the anion. And that's all that we do. So let's go back here. Li stands for lithium, as we said, so lithium. And then F is fluorine. And so remember we changed the ending of fluorine to fluoride. And there we go. There we have type 1. Well, the next one down here is Fe. Well, Fe, if I look at here, is somewhere in here in the periodic table, which means that it's got to be a type 2 because the blue ones here are type 2. So let's go back, and it's a type 2. Now remember, with type 2, we have to have a Roman numeral in the name. We go back to our packet, and we look right here, type 2. Here's some examples. They have a Roman numeral. The Roman numeral tells us the charge. So we have to calculate the charge in the type 2s. So let's go ahead and put the charges above. We don't know what the charge of iron is, but we do know what the charge of nitrogen is. Let's go back to our packet, and we go back up. Nitrogen is right here, and it's a -3. So go back to our packet, we're going to put a -3 above that. We're going to multiply that by the number of nitrogens we have. Well, that's the subscript. Well, the subscript is, there is no subscript. So that means that there's 1. So the chart, there's going to be 1 nitrogen. So I'm going to go down on the bottom, and I'm going to say that I have a -3 times 1 is overall charge of -3. That means that my overall charge for iron has to be equal but opposite, so it's going to be a +3. We're going to divide that by the number of irons that we have, which is 3. And so 3 divided by 3 is a +1. Okay, so now when we come over here, that's the number right there. That +1 is the number that we need to remember, and that's the one that's going to be our Roman numeral. So we're going to put in here iron, and then put the Roman numeral in parentheses. We're going to put the Roman numeral 1, and then we put nitrogen, change the ending to "ide," and we have nitride. That's how we do the names from the formulas. Okay, let's scroll down a little bit and do the rest of the ones down here. Let's go ahead. This one right here, I do not see a Roman numeral, so that means it is a type 1 if I have the name. So it's a type 1. With type 1, we're just going to put the charges. So we're going to put a +1 for sodium, excuse me. So we're going to put a +1. And then bromine, if we know, is a -1. Now, how do we figure that out? Again, we can go back to our packet, and we can see that sodium is a +1 right here. And then if I go down here to bromine, bromine is a -1. Okay. So since they already cancel each other out, we do not need to crisscross. So we're not gonna, that just means that we need, since they already cancel each other out, we only need 1 of each one. So we're gonna go over here, and we're just gonna put NaBr. We go to the next one. I have a Roman numeral, so I know that that's a type 2. Now, how do I know what the charge of titanium is? Well, that's the Roman numeral, so we're going to put a +1. Then we're going to go over to iodine. Iodine is a -1. How do we know that? If we go back to our packet, we'll see that iodine is a -1. Okay, they already cancel each other out, so we no need to crisscross. So we're just going to go back over here, and we're going to put the symbol for titanium, which is Ti. I don't need to put 1 down because that's just the there's only going to be 1 of them, so we don't put no subscripts down that. And then we put I. Okay. Now again, I can make it a little bit easier to read if I go ahead and change the font to something like this, and I see that it's TII. That's titanium. Okay. We go to this one here. I see magnesium, no Roman numeral, so that means it's type 1. Again, we go through this. We put the charges in. We see magnesium. Magnesium is a +2. Nitrogen is a -3. And since they don't cancel each other out, we're going to crisscross. And we're going to put a 3 right here, and we're going to put a 2 right there. We always ask the question when we crisscross is, can we reduce? In this case, we cannot reduce or simplify. So we're just going to put Mg for magnesium with a subscript of 3, and then put our nitrogen in there with a subscript of 2. And that's it. Hope you understand how